Hello students, welcome to CCLMS. So this is Balamukhi, Assistant Professor in Zoology, Government Degree College, Salur. Today we will deal. Today I will try to explain you the third semester's BSc syllabus, and that is cell biology. In that particular chapter, you see that the types of cells are there. There are two types of cells are there. What are the two types of cells? One is the prokaryotic cells and another one is the eukaryotic cells. So today I will discuss about the differences between these two cells. Let me show you the differences. You can see that. So these are the two types of cells. So one is eukaryotic cell and another one is the prokaryotic cell. So there are two types of cells are there in individual in all organisms. That means in all organisms are made up of two types of cells. There are only two. That is one is the eukaryotic cell and another one is the prokaryotic cell. Let me show you which organisms contain which type of cells. You see this one. You see. So the bacteria and archaea are the organisms which are made up of prokaryotic cell, whereas the remaining all other individuals, either it is fungi or plantae or animalia or protista, all of them are having the eukaryotic cells. So there are two different types of cells are there. The one is the prokaryotic cells and another one is the eukaryotic cells. Okay, let me discuss about the prokaryotic cells first, later on eukaryotic cells, then we discuss all the differences in between these two. The first characteristic feature is the prokaryotic cells. The bacteria and archaea are made up of prokaryotic cells, whereas the remaining all other organisms are made up of eukaryotic cells. So let us discuss about the first one. This is a prokaryotic cell. So start with the prokaryotic cell. So that means pro means you can see that pro means the before and karyo means you can see that karyo means nucleus. So karyo means nucleus. That means prokaryotic cell means the cells which are derived before the formation of nucleus. These are that is the prokaryotes, the prokaryotic cells, the cells which are derived before the formation of nucleus formation before they are formed. And here is the structure of a prokaryotic cell. I will explain in a diagrammatic manner. You can see that. So this is the outermost layer of the prokaryotic cell is known as the capsule. So this is a capsule, and below the capsule it actually protects the body wall, protects the cell of the that particular organisms. And next one is the cell wall is there. This is the cell wall, and the cell wall in general you can see in prokaryotic cells the cell wall is made up of the cellulose, whereas in bacteria the cell wall is just simply made up of a substance known as murin. So murin is a substance which is there in the cell wall of the prokaryotic cells. Below that cell wall, you can see this one. This is called as the cell membrane or plasma membrane. Cell membrane or the plasma membrane. So plasma membrane. And now you can see inside the plasma membrane, this is a substance. You can see this one. This entire substance is generally called as this one is called as cytoplasm. This is cytoplasm. And in the cytoplasm, this is cytoplasm, and here you see that the outermost region is contains this structure. This is called as the flagellum. Some bacteria are having flagellum, and some prokaryotic cells are also having the attaching structures known as the pilus. You can see that. So these two structures are there. The pilus is particularly seen in the bacterial eukaryotic organisms, some bacterial organisms. So that means the prokaryotic organisms. And next one you can see that this entire cytoplasm, you can see this is once again I draw the diagram. You can see. So this is the outermost capsule, below the capsule. So you can see that below the capsule there is a cell wall is there, and this cell wall is made up of the murin, and below the cell wall what you see that there is a plasma membrane is there. This is the plasma membrane, you can see this is the plasma membrane. So okay, this is plasma membrane. And the side, when you see the cytoplasm is contains a circular DNA. Cytoplasm is contains that circular DNA. You can see in diagram that circular DNA is present, is there, this one. This circular DNA is also called as a nucleoid. The circular DNA is also called as a nucleoid. There is no constant distinct nucleus is there in the bacteria or prokaryotic cell. There is a simple, you can see that there is a simple circular double-stranded DNA is there. That simple circular double-stranded DNA is also called as nucleoid, and nucleoid is genetic material in bacteria. And when they see the cytoplasm only contains these granules. These granules are generally called as, this one you can see that these granule-like structures are generally called as the ribosomes. And these ribosomes, when you compare with the eukaryotics, these ribosomes are smaller. That type of ribosomes are generally called as the 70S ribosomes. Okay, students, you can see this one, the outer capsule, the cell wall is made up of murin. This is the plasma membrane, and this is the flagellum, and this is pilus. All these things are there. And there is a circular DNA is there, and also not only the circular DNA or nucleoids, some of the small circular self-replicating structures are there. These are called as the plasmids. These are called as the plasmids. You see that, and there are 70 ribosomes. The only cell organelles are there in the prokaryotic cells. So this is a general structure of a prokaryotic cell. Let me show you the general structure of a eukaryotic cell. Then you can understand the difference between the prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. You see this one. So these are the this is eukaryotic cell, and this is prokaryotic cell. So we discuss about the prokaryotic cell. Now we discuss about the eukaryotic cell. Later on we discuss about the differences between the prokaryotes and eukaryotics. So you can see, so this prokaryotic cell is as usual, it contains a plasma membrane, you see, and there is no cell wall, no capsid. The first one, the no capsid, but you can see that the cell wall as you see in prokaryotes. And when you talk with the cell wall, okay, you can see that the cell wall in prokaryotes is there, is made up of murin, whereas in some eukaryotes such as the plant cells, you can see that plant cells are having the cell wall. The plant cells are having the cell wall, and that cell wall is made up of a substance not with murin. This is made up of the cellular. So animal cell, this is an animal cell diagram. You never see a cytoplasm, you never see a cell wall. If you take a plant cell, then you can see that the cell wall is made up of cellular. Later you can see that this is plasma membrane, and at the center of this, you can see this one. At the center, there is a constant distinct nucleus is there. This is the nucleus. Just I show you the diagram of nucleus, then you can understand. So how the nucleus is there. Let me show you. So let me show you. So this is the nucleus structure. So this is nucleus, and that nucleus is contains a membrane that is called as the nuclear membrane, and that nuclear membrane is contains numerous number of nuclear pores. You can see, just I discuss about the nuclear structure. And this is nuclear membrane, and that nuclear membrane is also contains numerous thread-like structures. You can see that this is called as the chromatin substance. This is chromatin substance. And another important point, there is a constant distinct structure is there at the center. You can see that That constant distinct structure is called as a nucleolus. So when you discuss about the structure of a nucleus in eukaryotic cells, this is a nucleus in eukaryotic cells. This nucleus is contains the nuclear membrane, you can see that some of the structures, and there is a thread like structure is there called as a chromatin substance. Just wait. So chromatin substance, you can see chromatin substance, and there is a round spherical structure is there called as the nucleolus, and later on the entire nucleus is filled with the fluid like substance called as a nucleolus. So this is called as the constant distinct nucleus is a characteristic feature of eukaryotic cell. You can see that. Whereas when you see the prokaryotic cell, that sort of structure you never see. Just you can see that as a circular DNA is present, naked DNA is there. When you see that this one, when you see that eukaryotic cell, this is chromatin substance. Chromatin substance means this one you can see. Chromatin substance means it contains DNA like this. This is DNA, and the DNA is surrounded by a particular protein. That particular protein which surrounds the DNA is generally structural protein, that is called as a histone. So you see that this is a chromosome of a eukaryotic cell. This eukaryotic cell chromosome is contains a linear DNA. Okay, linear DNA. So this is a linear DNA is there. And another important point, it is covered with another protein called as this is a histone protein. Histone protein. This is histone protein. So these sort of structures is a con is a is this histone proteins and linear DNA is together forms a constant chromosome like structure in eukaryotic cells. That sort of structures you cannot see in the prokaryotic cells. You see that prokaryotic cells are simply made up of a circular naked DNA that is called as a nucleoid. And the very interesting difference, another one is also there, you can see that. When you see the entire cytoplasm in the prokaryotic cell, just you know that the prokaryotic cells can only contain a smaller ribosome that is called as a 70s ribosomes, remaining all cell organelles are absent. Whereas here you see that eukaryotic cell is contained, this one is called as the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and this one is called as the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. You see, this is RER, this is RER, and this is SER, and this one you can see this is the Golgi complex. Ribosomes are larger, that ribosomes are called as 80s ribosomes, and this one is a lysosome, and this one is a mitochondria, and here you see that these are the centrioles and microtubules. All these structures, cell organelles are there. These are the cell organelles. All different kinds of cell organelles are there in eukaryotic cells, but in prokaryotic cells, only one type of cell organelles are there, known as 70s ribosomes. Whereas in eukaryotics, they are larger and they are called as 80s ribosomes. The cell organelles like Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, mitochondria, nucleolus, centriole, microtubule, rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, all these structures are completely absent in the prokaryotic cells. Okay, I think you understand about the structure of the eukaryotic cell, a basic structure. You can study the basic structure of prokaryotic cell. Now I go to explain the difference between these two. That is the important thing, just basic structural things, you can see that. The first one, the prokaryotes, no membrane bound nucleus. You know that in prokaryote, just I discuss you. So in prokaryote, there is a nucleus is there. This is a circular DNA. This is nucleide. This is nucleide, you know. What about eukaryotes? In eukaryotes, membrane bound nucleus is there. You know that this is nuclear membrane, this is the chromatin substance, and this one is the nucleolus, and this entire substance is called as a nucleoplasm. This is a constant distant nucleus. This one is, you can see that this is only a naked circular DNA. And cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan, or other words, you can say that is neurin cell wall. Whereas in eukaryotes, such as the plant cells, you can see that cell wall is made up of Cell wall is made up of either chitin in fungi or cellulose in remaining all plants. No membrane bound organelles are there. Membrane bound organelles are present. So cell organelles, ribosome is a question. You can see ribosome is not a membrane bound organelle. It is a ribonucleoprotein. And here you see the ribosomes issue. Here they contains the 70S ribosomes. Here you can see that 80S. Students, you must remember the ribosomes cannot be called as membrane bound organelles. They are just the ribonucleoproteins which are made up of RNA and proteins. And another one, you can see the pili-like structure and flagella are there. Some of the eukaryotes are having flagella, but pili is completely absent. And also you can see that capsule is present in prokaryotes. You can see that capsule is not there, and cells are smaller and larger. And here you see that this is the circular DNA. It contains circular DNA. Here you see that the linear DNA is there. And here you can, another important point I am also trying to mention, you circular DNA, linear DNA. Plasmid, what about plasmid? Plasmid is present and plasmid is absent. Plasmid is absent, and so many types of differences are there. So students, I think you understand about the differences between the prokaryotes and eukaryotes in in this class. So thank you very much for joining in the class, and see you once again. Thank you all.